We did all those tests with the previous two, so we felt like our odds of that ever happening to us were, pretty much non-existent.
Will and Sarah Mortison had been looking forward to this day in November 2017. Sarah, 38 years old and 10 weeks pregnant, was getting the results of her prenatal screening. Having had 2 healthy children, the couple expected a good report. They'd also find out if their new addition was a boy or a girl.
I just was waiting at the phone to get that call, and sure enough, got the call, and my doctor said, right away, Sarah, I need to let you know that your baby tested positive for trisomy 18, and right away I knew what that meant. That was that basically my child wasn't going to make it.
Also known as Edwards syndrome, trisomy 18 is a birth disorder in which babies carry an extra chromosome 18. Of those who do live full term, 90 to 95% don't survive the first year.
Like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna lose a child. How will I ever be the same? How will I be able to tell my other children? And how will this affect us?
Before hanging up, there was still one thing Sarah needed to know.
I said, wait a minute, what did it say that Will and I are having? Are we having a boy or girl? And she said, a girl, Sarah.
Later that day, the couple met with Sarah's doctor.
It was a shock. That's all I remember, that moment, like learning that information, learning what it was, and preparing ourselves mentally for what could lie ahead. It was just a blur and just a shock.
Will and Sarah were already familiar with Edwards syndrome. Each had friends whose babies had the disorder. One died in the womb. The other had numerous challenges.
So I think my biggest fear was that, we're gonna be that family that has to live with this situation where we've got 2 healthy kids we're trying to raise, but this third child that's requiring every ounce of our time and energy just to keep them alive. And what's that gonna do to our other children?
At the doctor's advice, they scheduled Sarah for an amniocentesis to verify the diagnosis and help them make an informed decision about whether to terminate the pregnancy. While abortion wasn't an option, the couple wasn't sure they had the faith to turn it over to God and trust Him for the outcome. At home the next day, Sarah poured her heart out to God.
I'm just crying out to Him, saying, I need a word, Lord, as to what me and Will are supposed to do.
Sarah says at that moment, God spoke to her through the voice of her unborn daughter.
And then right then, it was like so clear, feeling her voice say like, Mommy, tell them to leave me alone, I'm just fine.
Later, when Will came home from work,
she was so excited when I got home. It was the first thing she said to me, that we're not doing the amniocentesis. And I just said, God told me the same thing, we're not. And we just had so much peace after that.
Sarah canceled the appointment. They even gave their daughter a name, Lively Rain. But now they wouldn't know whether the baby had the disorder until she was born, if she lived that long. For the next 33 weeks, the couple and their family prayed as Sarah continued getting checkups and numerous ultrasounds. Finally, the day came. On July 24, 2018, Lively Rain was delivered by C-section with no sign of Edwards syndrome. In the words of Sarah's obstetrician, the baby was perfect.
Such a great moment, because I just knew that the Lord had told me this was going to be the outcome.
I just saw this beautiful, tiny little baby, and I saw 10 fingers, 10 toes, and I just looked back to Sarah, and I was like, she looks great, babe. We're good,
God gave me a miracle. He saved Lively.
This is Lively Rain at 5 years old, healthy in every way through the power of prayer.
I'm grateful for the blessings that we've received from the Lord, and I just live in that.
God shows up for you. And if I could tell any parent out there to just let God have the final say. Gather your information, take it to Him, lay it at His feet, and expect to hear Him.